Well, it's hump day. It's Wednesday, and we're ready for story 2 this week. So I enjoyed a tale of what was it called? In the Days of King Adobe. I was getting confused with our story for starting today, a tale of two tricksters. Well, we're moving on to a new story, so we've got some new vocabulary. It's a whole lot of words to learn for this story. There are two of them. You only have two vocabulary words for this new story we're starting today, so that's nice. The first one is succulent. Succulent is food. If food is succulent, it's juicy and tasty. The apple was so succulent that juice dribbled down his chin. That sounds like a good apple to me. I like an apple. Succulent means it's juicy and tasty. Clamped. When something is clamped, it's closed tightly. We clamped the bag of cereal with a clip so it would stay fresh. That's it. Succulent, juicy and tasty, and clamped to close something very tightly. There you go. That's your two vocabulary words for this story. That's unusual, isn't it? I think last week or the week before we had 9 vocabulary words. So 2 is a lot easier to remember this week. All right, we're going to do the same thing we did on Monday as we start this new story. We're going to make some predictions. So remember, as we're looking through the pictures of our story in the Days of King Adobe, I made a prediction that it was about a storyteller telling stories to 2 men who visited her, but that wasn't it at all. So my prediction was wrong, but it changed during the reading. I knew my prediction was wrong, and then afterwards I knew what the story was about. So let's take a look at our new story for this, starting today rather, and it's called A Pair of Tricksters. So let's just take a look at this, and we'll make some predictions about what A Pair of Tricksters might be about. Now, I see a lobster. Well, it's not the ocean. It's probably more like a crawdad or a crayfish. I've got a crow or something, and I've got a fox. Well, I don't know who's my pair of tricksters going to be. Is it one of these animals, maybe? Okay, well, I think we're going to get an idea here. Looks like it's a fox and a crow that are going to be dealing with each other. And if I'm just glancing over the text, it looks like the crow and the fox are talking to each other. What's that called? When a character who's not a human has human characteristics like talking. Personification, right? So this is some personification in this story. And, oh, the crow looks pretty mad there. Oh, poor crayfish. Well, I like to eat crayfish. I like to eat lobsters and crawdads too, don't you? They're yummy. That's a mean-looking crow. The illustrator made that crow look evil in that picture. Well, now looks like the crow dropped it for some reason. And it's kind of a short story, isn't it? That's it. Oh, gosh, I have no clue. I'm going to make a prediction that, let's see, looking at this, the fox wants a piece of cheese. And maybe he says, hey, if you'll give me that piece of cheese, I'll tell you where something even tastier is. And he tells the crow about the lobster in the water. That's my prediction. And then the crow can't eat the lobster because he gets pinched or something. Well, I have no clue, but we'll read and find out. That's what we do when we predict, remember, okay? Now we can predict while we're reading and wonder what's going to happen next, or then we'll find out if we were right or wrong. So, A Pair of Tricksters, illustrated by Maribel Lechuga and Jui Idisha. And it's the original tale is told by Aesop. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go back one more page here. So this is a fable. A fable is a short story meant to teach a lesson. Trickster tales are imaginative stories in which one character tricks another character. So this is a pair of, I guess that's why it's called a pair of tricksters. Fables teach a lesson called a moral. We talked yesterday about themes. There's going to be a theme to this story as well that people should apply to their lives. Sometimes the moral is stated at the end of the fable. Characters in fables are usually animals. Well, that makes sense. We saw that. Trickster tales include a clever character who knows more than he or she lets on. Well, that's kind of like the lady in our other story, wasn't it? She didn't let them know that she knew they were stealing from her. So let's read A Pair of Tricksters by Aesop. A fox once saw a crow fly off with a piece of cheese in its beak and settle on a branch in a tree. That's for me, as I am a fox, said Master Fox as he walked up to the foot of the tree. Good day, Mrs. Crow, he cried. How well you are looking today. How glossy your feathers. How bright your eye. I feel sure your voice must surpass that of other birds, just as your figure does. Let me hear but one song from you that I might greet you as the queen of the birds. The crow lifted up her head again and began to call her best. But the moment she opened her mouth, the piece of cheese fell to the ground, only to be snapped up by Master Fox. That'll do, said he. That was all I wanted. In exchange for your cheese, I'll give you a piece of advice for the future. Do not trust flatterers. Well, Mr. Sly Fox, he tricked the old crow, didn't he? So this fox wanted the cheese. So what was his strategy here? He knew if the crow started singing, then she would drop the cheese. So how did he get her to do it? He said, Gosh, you're the most beautiful bird in the world. Your feathers are so shiny. You're the queen of all birds. I bet your beautiful voice would sound even more beautiful than all the other birds. Won't you just sing for me? And so she got all flattered, which means he gave her a bunch of compliments and made her sing and drop the cheese, and he ate it. So don't trust flatterers. Have you ever wanted something? Maybe you want a new video game, and so you go and you're like, Mom, I will help you clean the kitchen today. Mom, look, I cleaned my room and made my bed. Mom, you're so beautiful. I love you, Mom. And you try to flatter her up, and then you go, Can I have a new game? Well, that's kind of what Fox did to Crow, right? Oh, you're so beautiful. I love you, Crow. Won't you sing, Crow? And then he gets her cheese. Don't trust flatterers. They may be trying to trick you. That's the moral of the story. Now we've got another story inside this story. This isn't the one I'm interested in because this crow kind of gives me creeps. It looks mean here. Maybe she's mad because she lost her cheese. Raven and Crayfish. It's The Raven by John and Caitlin Matthews. Flying home to his nest one day, Raven spied a succulent crayfish swimming in the lake below. He swooped down and caught the fat crayfish in his beak, thinking of the feast he would have when he came to his treetop home. Crayfish was terrified, knowing that she was seconds away from becoming a raven's dinner. She began to speak as calmly and sweetly as she could. Oh, great and powerful Raven, I'm so pleased to meet you. You know, I had supper with your father and mother a little while ago. What a delightful couple. A goo? Said Raven, because his beak was firmly shut, holding tight to his dinner. And I've often noticed how enchanting your brothers and sisters are. What a handsome family, continued Crayfish. Another flatterer, giving compliments to Raven. You magoo? Said Raven, his beak clamped shut, looking forward to supper time. Of course they are all majestic, said Crayfish, but none is your equal. You are the cleverest, Raven. No, that is not enough. You are the cleverest creature of all creatures since the world's creation. Delighted by the flattery, Raven opened his beak to agree. Before he could say a word, Crayfish wiggled free and fell back into the lake below, disappearing into the deep, dark water. That night, the cleverest creature of all creatures since the world's creation had to go without dinner. Raven got tricked, didn't he? By Crayfish, another flatterer, telling Raven how great he was, and he wanted to speak up and brag a little bit, and lost his dinner. Smart Crayfish. So in our story, this that we read today, the fox was a trickster, and Crayfish was a trickster. I guess another moral of that story would be don't trust flatterers. Okay. Well, what I need for you to do for me today is this. We're going to have a little assignment on our 2 vocabulary words. Don't miss one or you'll miss the other and you'll make a 0. So you can either make a 100 or a 0 on this. So make sure you get the right word matched. Use your book if you need to. You're going to have a spelling practice today. We've not done one yet this week, so you'll have a spelling practice with the first 10 words today, and then you'll have another abbreviation assignment today. All right, so I'll let you go get started on them. Don't be a trickster. Don't be flattering Mom for a new video game. Okay, see you later.